folks, and welcome to the Daily Ratings Weekly Movie News Podcast. This week's news brought to you by an update and another update, and some updates on the updates. So what do we want to start with today? Let's do a Bond update, because, well, why not? So a writer for Bond 26 has been chosen. A handful of writers were in the running, but Amazon has picked Stephen Knight to pen the script for the film. Some of Stephen's films he worked on have been 2002's Dirty Pretty Things and 2013's Locke, starring Tom Hardy. He also wrote Eastern Promises, which is a great sign. But his biggest claim to fame is that he not only wrote most of the episodes, but he was also the show creator for Peaky Blinders over on Netflix, a very loved show. So the guy's been in the biz for a while and has done a lot of movies. He's done a ton of TV. But seems like he's got it where it counts. You know, he could be a great match with Denny's directing. And in fact, Denny had to sign off on and had a large part in picking Stephen. So the way Amazon is structuring this is directors went and pitched their own story and character arcs to Amazon. They ended up going with Villeneuve's idea. It will then go to Stephen Knight to pen the actual script. And then before production really gets going, Denny will have the final say on the script and make any additional changes that he sees fit. So right now, Dune 3 will be all-consuming for Denny and his Warner Brothers team. So now all movement will be on Knight writing the script, and then eventually for Amazon to actually pick the actor for Bond. And as always, we'll have the updates here as they come out. Let's move on to one of my personal favorite trilogies, the Ocean's movies. Yes, some updates on a new film broke last week. Honestly, I don't even think I knew this, but there was actually an Ocean's prequel that was supposed to start shooting in late 2023. It was going to star Margot Robbie and Ryan Gosling, and would be directed by Jay Roach, the guy who directed the Austin Powers and Meet the Parents movies. I totally missed out on that one, or maybe I just completely am blanking on remembering that. But anyway, there are a ton of delays and pushbacks, and now the project is revitalized and back on track. The new director attached to the project is Lee Isaac Chung, most well known for Twisters last year, and he also made a 2020 film that got a lot of critical praise called Minari. The same writer is still attached to the project. That's Carrie Solomon, who hasn't really written a whole lot. She's pretty early in her career, which is interesting. We don't know yet if Margot and Gosling are still attached, but by the sounds of what the story was supposed to be, I kind of hope they keep everything. So the film had a working title of just Oceans, and it was going to focus on Danny Ocean's parents, and apparently set in the 1960s and around a Monaco Grand Prix heist. You know, I quite like this, and I don't know how much money Margot and Gosling would need, especially after their success in Barbie. I don't know what their schedules are. They seem to be very, very busy, but getting them would be awesome. So we look forward to seeing more on that. And now let's list off some quick news stories here. Writer and director Chris Columbus will be writing and directing Gremlins 3. Columbus wrote the original Gremlins film back in 1984, and apparently the film is ready to go. The one last thing they need, though, is a thumbs up from Steven Spielberg. Gremlins was a part of Spielberg's Amblin Entertainment, and he needs to sign off on things before it gets going. But Warner Brothers is taking it seriously and totally backs the project. So if Steven says go, it sounds like Gremlins 3 will be starting production next year. Let's go to Jim Halpert, old John Krasinski. He is officially set to direct A Quiet Place 3, which the studio has a release date for July 9th, 2027, prime summer real estate. It will be the fourth Quiet Place movie now, but I guess John and Emily Blunt will continue their own storyline. Or, you know, maybe who knows, John might take it in a completely different direction. The last two films did relatively well, they did well enough, and if the interest keeps up with this whole story, I wonder if we'll just end up getting some sort of Quiet Place universe with, well, diminishing returns, but we'll see, we'll have more as more comes out with that. Timothée Chalamet and director James Mangold are looking to work together again. The two came out with the Bob Dylan biopic last year. The project now is called High Side. It follows a former professional motorcycle racer who is dragged into crime while having the FBI on their tail. A bidding war broke out for the movie now, so we'll see when things get going. Timmy has his ping pong movie Marty Supreme coming out this Christmas. He's currently filming Dune 3. And then Mangold just has a whole bunch of projects slated, so we'll see how that all comes out in the wash. Ryan Coogler's Black Panther 3 has an official date now, so Marvel is set to release the film in February of 2028, with production starting in 2027. James Gunn has already started penning the script for Superman 2. After the successful opening weekend, Warner Bros. Gave Superman 2 a green light, and James Gunn is already at it. You know, the funny thing is that Superman might not actually make its money back at the box office, which is crazy, but Warner Brothers and DC seem very happy, so here we go, DCU coming at you. And then the last story here, and really the most talked about this week, I have to say, and I just kind of wanted to end on it, The Social Network Part 2. We covered a couple weeks ago that Aaron Sorkin will be back writing for this story. The Social Network for 2010 is often considered one of the best films of the decade, so when news broke that a sequel was in the works, it certainly stirred some mixed feelings online. The news this week, though, is all around the cast. So initially, it was kind of just assumed that Jesse Eisenberg, who was lauded for his portrayal of young Zuckerberg, will be back to star. But this past week, it's reported that Eisenberg declined to come back for the role. And now, Jeremy Strong, from Succession fame, will be playing Zuck in the new movie. Again, a lot of mixed feelings online. And then in addition to Strong coming on board, it was also announced that Jeremy Allen White and Mikey Madison from Anora will also be playing major roles in the film. So time will tell on this one. It's tough to capture lightning in a bottle twice. We'll see if Sorkin still has the goods to pump out something Oscar-worthy, just like the first film. But let's jump on over to the box office for this past weekend. So fifth best at the box office was Jurassic World Rebirth with $8.7 million. Fourth was Superman with $13.9 million. Third for the weekend was newly released The Naked Gun, raking in $17 million, which pretty good for an opening film like that. Second was also newly released The Bad Guys 2 with an acceptable $22.2 million. And the best movie at the box office this past weekend was, once again, The Fantastic Four: First Steps, with $40 million. Now, that's actually a pretty big drop-off for its second week, so it seems like the big Marvel fans were really pulling a lot of weight in that first weekend. A worldwide total so far for The Fantastic Four at 368. Coming up this Thursday, Vincent Daly will be watching, rating, and reviewing. We're covering all new movies this week. So, first up is The Naked Gun by Akiva Schaffer. We'll see what Liam Neeson has to offer. Then The Bad Guys 2, directed by Pierre Perifel. And lastly, a new movie that was sixth at the box office for this weekend. It's a horror movie starring real-life celebrity couple, Alison Brie and Dave Franco, and they're in Together, and that's directed by Michael Shanks. But that's it for your weekly movie news. We'll leave you today with a quote from an actor, Ryan Gosling. Do you remember when Fabio got hit in the face with a pigeon on the roller coaster and it broke his nose? Sometimes I feel like I'm the pigeon, and the internet is Fabio's face. Actually, I don't know if I'm the pigeon, or if I'm Fabio's face. Depends on the day, I guess. And alright folks, the Daily Ratings Weekly Movie News Podcast, that was it. See you on Thursday.